Have you ever heard of a story so terrifying it caused a real-life citywide panic? A story that blurred the lines between myth and a chilling reality. Today, we're diving deep into one of Japan's most infamous urban legends, the tale of Kuchisake-onna, the Slit-Mouthed Woman. This isn't just a campfire story, it's a legend that once had police patrolling the streets and children afraid to walk home alone. So, who is Kuchisake-onna? The legend paints a picture of a woman, often beautiful, who wanders the streets at night. Her most distinct feature is a surgical mask covering the lower half of her face, something not unusual in Japan, which makes her blend in seamlessly. She approaches her victims, usually children or lone travelers, with a seemingly innocent question, "Watashi kyuri?" Am I pretty? This is where the nightmare begins. You have to be very, very careful with your answer. If you'll say no, she becomes enraged. She pulls out a sharp weapon, often described as a pair of scissors, a scythe, or a knife, and ends your life right there on the spot. A brutal, swift punishment for perceived insolence. But what if you try to be polite? What if you say yes? This is where the true horror is revealed. Thinking you've appeased her, you'll watch as she slowly lowers her mask. Underneath, a grotesque wound is exposed. Her mouth is slit from ear to ear, a bloody, permanent grin. She then asks again, her voice now distorted and menacing, "Cory, demo? How about now? Or am I pretty even like this?" If you scream, hesitate, or show any sign of fear, she attacks, using her weapon to slash your mouth, giving you a smile just like hers. If you answer yes again, some versions of the story say she'll follow you home and kill you on your own doorstep. Others say she'll still slit your mouth, but might let you live with the scar. There seems to be no right answer, no easy escape. Now, you might be thinking this is just a spooky story, a piece of folklore. And for centuries, it was. The origins of the legend are debated. Some say it dates back to the Heian period, over 1,000 years ago, about a jealous samurai who mutilated his beautiful wife or concubine, creating a vengeful spirit, an onryu. Others suggest the story is much more modern. But what truly solidified Kuchisake-onna in the national consciousness was the panic of 1979. Imagine this. It's the spring and summer of 1979 in Gifu Prefecture. Suddenly, reports start flooding in. School children are terrified, claiming a strange woman wearing a mask is following them home from school, asking them that dreadful question. The descriptions are eerily consistent. A local newspaper in Gifu published the first article on the sightings in January 1979, and from there, the story exploded. The panic was real. Schools began sending children home in groups, escorted by teachers. Police patrols were increased, especially around schools and in the evenings. The entire region was on high alert. One account from a young boy at the time added a sensory detail that made the story even more terrifying. He reported smelling a strange, metallic odor like iron or rust just before the woman appeared and spoke to him. This detail, the scent of blood, made the encounter feel frighteningly real. Initially, authorities tried to dismiss the sightings as mass hysteria, a product of children's overactive imaginations fueled by a ghost story. They issued statements, trying to calm the public, but it didn't work. The fear was too widespread. The legend had taken on a life of its own, and then something happened that seemed to validate everyone's worst fears. Weeks into the panic, a young girl in the area was tragically found with severe facial wounds. The cuts on her face eerily matched the description of the injuries inflicted by a Kuchisake, while police reports and official records from that time are hard to verify completely. This incident was the spark that turned the local panic into a national phenomenon. The story spread like wildfire across Japan. Suddenly, sightings weren't just in Gifu anymore. They were being reported in other prefectures. Even in the bustling capital of Tokyo, the slit-mouthed woman was seemingly everywhere. The country was gripped by the fear of this phantom woman. Then, just as suddenly as it all began, the sightings stopped. By the end of the summer, the reports dwindled. The panic subsided, and life slowly returned to normal. It was as if she had vanished into thin air overnight. No one was ever caught. No definitive explanation was ever given. Was it a copycat criminal? A series of unrelated, frightening encounters? Or was it truly just a case of mass hysteria that ran its course? We may never know for sure, but the story doesn't quite end there. there's a lingering, creepy postscript to the Gifu panic. Locals in the town where the sightings were most prominent whisper that something was left behind. They say that even today, if you look into a mirror in that town, especially an old one, it might fog up unexpectedly. And as the condensation clears, for just a split second, you can see the faint shape of a smile forming in the glass, a chilling reminder of the time when a legend walked their streets. Over the years, people have tried to figure out ways to survive an encounter with Kuchisake. The legend evolved to include potential escape routes. One popular theory is to give a non-committal, confusing answer. When she asks, "Am I pretty?" you're supposed to say so-so or you're average. This apparently confuses her, giving you a chance to run. Another method involves money or candy. Some say if you throw coins or hard candies on the ground, she'll be distracted and stop to pick them up, buying you precious seconds to escape. The candy trick is particularly popular, suggesting she might have a sweet tooth, a strange, almost childlike detail for such a terrifying entity. Another supposed weakness is her aversion to the smell of hair pomade. Shouting pomade, pomade, pomade 3 times is said to repel her. This is thought to stem from a rumor that the man who mutilated her, or perhaps a doctor who performed a botched surgery, smelled strongly of it. The legend of Kuchisake-onna has become a staple of Japanese pop culture. She's appeared in numerous films, manga, anime, and video games, each adding their own twist to her terrifying tale. She's not just a monster. She's a cultural icon, a symbol of a specific kind of fear that blends urban anxiety with ancient folklore. What makes her so enduring? Perhaps it's because she preys on a universal fear, the stranger with hidden intentions. Her mask conceals her true nature, a perfect metaphor for the idea that appearances can be deceiving, and that danger can hide behind a seemingly normal facade. Her question forces a social dilemma, turning a simple pleasantry into a life-or-death choice. The 1979 panic serves as a powerful example of how a story can impact society. It shows how fear, once it takes root, can spread faster than any truth, blurring the lines between what's real and what's imagined, until a whole community is looking over its shoulder, afraid of a woman in a mask. So, what do you think? Was Kuchisake-onna just a story that got out of hand? Or did something truly terrifying stalk the streets of Japan in 19... The mystery remains. The legend lives on, waiting in the shadows, ready to ask its question. Thank you so much for joining me on this dive into one of the world's most chilling urban legends. I'm fascinated by how these stories take hold in different cultures. Let me know in the comments which country's folklore you think I should explore next. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown. Stay safe out there.